So let's basically start the review here. So we are going to analyze 4 players when it comes to very rare LLC business line of credit, no income verification. So we have SunWise, FundingPilot, Advancepoint, and Coast Funding. I want to start with SunWise. So when you think about SunWise, the application is very fast. You have an easy one-page application that takes less than 5 minutes to complete. We love that. And when we did it, we actually have done it for some clients. It took 3 minutes, very fast. And you have fast approval, so you get approved and funded the same day. That's just fantastic. Some of our clients were approved within 18 hours. This is really great. And what we love with SunWise is that they have tailored funding solutions for your LLC when it comes to your business line of credit. Now, here are the minimum requirements. So they want you to be in business for 12 months. That's the minimum. They want $15,000 in monthly revenue. Remember, they're not verifying your income. So they actually, this is what we call stated income. So they actually would take your word at it. If you say, listen, I'm making 20 grand, they will actually accept that 20 grand at face value. In terms of FICO score, they will accept minimum 500. So you can actually get a SunWise LLC business line of credit for a constellation of purposes. For example, operating expenses, unplanned expenses, growth opportunity, rainy day fund, bills on time, additional cash, access to growth capital, slow period if you have some cyclical moments in your LLC and you need to have this sort of additional cash, they will actually provide that. And so they will help you actually sort of fill the cash flow gaps that you currently have. So the good thing we love about SunWise Capital is that you can basically call them to ask questions beforehand. And you can also apply online. They have this in some cases, depending on the state you're applying from, in the state where your LLC is located at, they will allow you to have a soft pull process. So you can pre-qualify for this LLC business line of credit, no income verification. Now, they might ask you for your bank statements, and because your business bank statements, and in some cases, they will ask you for your business plan. Otherwise, this is a great loan, and they actually even report your transactional history to the Business Credit Bureau. So you're talking about Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax Business, and Experian Business. So that's just fantastic. Let me talk now about FundingPilot. By the way, welcome back to the channel. We really appreciate having you here. We were actually discussing today about LLC business line of credit, no income verification. We are comparing and contrasting 4 players in this field. By the way, I just forgot to tell you that for SunWise, they can qualify you up to $1 million. Okay. Let's talk about FundingPilot. So when we talk about FundingPilot, they have a stated income business line of credit for your LLC. It's the same thing. No income verification means stated income. Okay. So you have no income verification. They're not asking you for minimum time in business. We love that. No upfront costs or fees, no financial documentation, and you have an unrestricted use of funds. So when you think about FundingPilot, this is one of our favorite because they offer some of the most diverse, competitive, and flexible business line of credit options for LLCs. Okay, among these programs, one definitely that stands out from the rest is the stated income business line of credit for your LLC. So this line of credit is the best option for those who don't want to furnish company earnings, sensitive financial documentation, or simply want a truly hassle-free experience. Okay, so to apply, you just need to complete the line of credit pre-approval form, or you can call right now. You can call a FundingPilot right now at 888-460-4518. Let me repeat that: 1-888-460-4518. So they will approve you. They actually have approvals that range from $5,000 to $250,000, $5,000 to $250,000. No income verification. I just said that. No financial documentation. And the cool thing is all industries are eligible. Okay. You have 0% interest for the first 6 to 24 months. Think about that. So, and what we love is that one thing you have to be located in the United States though. But one thing we love is that this FundingPilot business line of credit for LLCs is very startup friendly. So if you have a startup, no matter the status, no matter the legal structure of your startup. If you are LLC, S corporation, C corporation, or a partnership, you can still qualify for this LLC from LLC business line of credit, no income verification from FundingPilot. Okay, and the only thing is the minimum credit score requirements here is 680. So in the event you don't meet the minimum credit score requirements, a co-signer who does not need to be affiliated to your LLC business can be used to qualify. Let me quickly review right now Advancepoint Capital. Okay, another solid player, and Advancepoint Capital wants you to be in business for at least 6 months. Okay, so, and they have said it very specifically that they do not want startup businesses. So if you have been in business for at least 6 months, you can qualify. Okay, in terms of your credit score, you need to have a minimum of 500. They want you to have an annual revenue of $200,000. Now, they're not going to verify. In other words, they also accept stated income. Not a problem. You don't have to justify it. And they will ask for your business bank statements, though. Okay, they will accept most business types and industries. Not a problem. And they also might take sometimes merchant processing statements. And no personal collateral is required, so no PG at all. Okay, no personal guarantee also. So if you are trying to get a stated income business line of credit for your LLC from Advancepoint Capital, so basically they have a one-page loan application. They want you to show your business bank statements. They want you to show merchant processing statements in some cases, and that's it. What we love about Advancepoint Capital is the friendliness of the loan reps. See, the thing is, sometimes when you actually want to borrow from a lot of alternative lenders, they're trying to play you around, trying to play games with you. They ask you questions. When you respond, they don't get back to you right away. But you don't have that with Advancepoint. Here is a lender who is very borrower friendly. In other words, they genuinely want you to win. They want your LLC business to be successful, so that at least you can pay them back not only on this business line of credit, but also come back for more and more and more. And we love that. We love this sort of strategy, this sort of philosophy that is a win-win proposition for both the lender, in this case Advancepoint, and you as a borrower. So we love that a lot. And we really love the knowledge that they bring to the table. And we also love the fact that you can use an LLC business line of credit, no income verification from Advancepoint Capital, to actually take care of a constellation of things. For example, you can use it as a working business capital. You can improve cash flow. You can purchase new or used equipment and or software. You can take care of business expansion. You can recruit employees. You can do marketing, advertising for customer acquisition, and you can use the cash for emergencies that require financial aid. So this is just fantastic, wonderful, and most industries are acceptable. Not a problem. Let me just kind of review the fourth player into this conversation. So we have Coast Funding. So when you think about Coast Funding, first of all, they want you to be in business for 6 months. You got to have a FICO score of 550, that's minimum. And your annual revenue must be greater than $100,000. Again, here we have they accept stated income. In other words, they will take whatever you give them. Okay, you don't have to prove the income. You don't have to verify the income. They might ask you to provide your business bank statements. Okay, the good thing we love about Coast Funding is that they allow you to apply in minutes. So basically, they have a trifecta. They have 3 stages. So you apply in minutes, in actually 3 or 4 minutes. When we actually checked the whole process, it took us 4 minutes. So you apply. That's step number 1. Number 2, you need to accept your offer. So review your offer. You got to look at things like your APR, the fees, if there are fees. Okay, and the repayment window. Sometimes they might want you to repay instead of a monthly frequency. They want you to actually repay on a bi-weekly, every 2 weeks, or a bi-monthly. Okay, and so step number 2, you accept your offer, and step number 3, you access your funds. Okay, so that's the trifecta when it comes to Coast Funding. So when we talk about Coast Funding, and we are talking about ALC business lines of credit, no income verification, you can access lines from $5,000 to $250,000. Okay, this is really great. And what we love is that they also have other types of ALC business funding options. So they have ALC business loans. Here you can access money from 10 grand to $1 million. They also have working capital. Okay, so working capital, you can actually access funds from $5,000 to $2 million. The good thing about the working capital is that they can actually customize the working capital loan, which is a loan at the origins. They can transform that into an ALC business line of credit for you. But you got to be with the Coast Funding for a while, though. They want to see some kind of a proven track record of you taking out loans and repaying those loans before they can actually trust you with a bigger loan amount or with a bigger line of credit amount. They also do equipment financing, so this is really good. And one thing we love about Coast Funding is that they are very responsive. As a matter of fact, if you want to call them, you can call them at 1-855-893-3294. They are located in San Diego, California. Okay, and so they also have a personalized approach. We love that. They have a fast and easy application. They use a lot of technology to sort of streamline the whole underwriting process. And so they do have also industry experience. They have a high approval rate. Fantastic. Let me give you an overview about the whole thing. When we talk about ALC, business line of credit, no income verification, you got to understand. By the way, I just want to quickly remind you of the topic. We are comparing and contrasting 4 players when it comes to ALC, business line of credit, no income verification. We have SunWise, FundingPilot, Advancepoint Capital, and Coast Funding. You need to understand how does a business line of credit really works, especially when we talk about no income verification. I want to address the part of a no income verification first. When you talk about no income verification, sometimes you will hear the word stated income. They mean the same thing. So when you have ALC, business line of credit, no income verification, ALC, business credit, stated income, those two are interchangeable. Those two phrases are interchangeable. What you have to do here is that when you see those terms, there are 2 things that can happen. Either the lender wants you to have a high FICO score. In other words, they're trying to counterbalance the fact that you cannot prove your income. So that's one. Either that, or they ask you to provide business bank statements. So in other words, they are trying to make sure that they can piece together your cash inflows and cash outflows by actually pouring over your bank statements at the business level. This is how they analyze things. Okay, so I just wanted to explain to you, because a lot of folks, they get it twisted when it comes to business line of credit, no income verification. You need to understand conceptually what we are talking about here. Now, let me go back to the conceptual definition of a business line of credit. How does a business line of credit really work? So a business line of credit is actually a flexible loan option for ALC businesses and other businesses. It may be referred to as a revolving line of credit. So you are familiar with the line of credit if you use a credit card. So it allows you to access funds from your credit line, pay back some or all of it, and access it again. So with the business line of credit for your LLC, the LLC business owner decides when, if, and how he or she will use that borrowed capital. So basically what happens here is that interest is typically only charged for the amount of the credit line that is accessed, and interest rates may be fixed or variable. And variable interest rates typically change when interest rates in the economy change. And some lenders charge a draw fee every time you access the credit line. So that's the basic definition here. Now let's get to the decision time here. So SunWise versus FundingPilot versus Advancepoint versus Coast Funding. Which one should you choose for your LLC business line of credit, no income verification? Now it really depends. This is the $1 million question here. Okay, so to actually inform your decisions, you got to look at a few things. We look at a few markers, what we call financial markers, to make a decision. So first, I want you to tell me the amount that you need. How much do you need, boss? So do you need 5 grand, 10 grand, 100 grand, $250,000, more than that? Because there are some players are limited in the amount that they will lend you. Okay, FundingPilot, for example, they actually will cap you at a $250,000. So if you want something larger, there are other players that allow you to borrow $1 million. Okay, so the amount that you need is really the first thing you want to pay attention to. Also, you want to pay attention to your LLC financial situation. This is very important. Is your LLC in a great financial situation in terms of revenue, in terms of expenses, in terms of profitability, or it is just in dire straits right now? It's in financial straits. Those are things you need to think about. What about your sales pipeline? Talk to me about that, boss. Your LLC, does it have right now? I'm talking about right now, not in the future. Don't try to razzle dazzle me. I'm asking you right now, do you have a strong sales pipeline for your LLC? And do you have other funding sources available for your LLC? Because the thing is that if you get denied, you have to think about your backup plan. Do you have plan B, a plan C, and whatnot? And also, the thing is that a lot of all the business line of credit that we're speaking here about, they don't have collateral attached. In other words, those are unsecured. The question is, are you ready to pledge collateral if the lender were to ask you so? Because conceptually and theoretically, these business lines of credit from SunWise, from FundingPilot, from Advancepoint Capital, from Coast Funding are unsecured. However, you never know. They might ask you for some kind of guarantee. So are you ready to provide something? So this is the smorgasbord of questions that you got to ask yourself and really be comfortable answering before you can actually decide whether or not you should go with SunWise, FundingPilot, Advancepoint, or Coast Funding. One thing I want to ask you also is that think about your repayment capability. Are you in a better situation right now when it comes to repaying the line of credit? So whatever you tap on the line of credit, you should be in a position to pay it back. And the thing is that some lenders will ask you to pay the tapped portion of it at the end of the drawing period. Some will want you to pay as you go. So you got to think about that. And one thing I want to really talk about before giving you our choice here is that the thing is, when you're thinking about a business line of credit for your LLC, whether it is with income verified or no income verification, you got to really understand the pros and cons of a business line of credit per se to really make the best decisions. Okay, so let's talk about the pros here. So a line of credit can give you access to capital when you need it, but there are drawbacks you need to consider as well. Let's first talk about the pros. So if you have the opportunity to, for example, expand your LLC business, an LLC line of credit allows you the opportunity to take advantage of it, right? Because you see a growth opportunity, you can grab it because you have the funds to actually fund that growth opportunity. Likewise, you can get the working capital you need to pay the bills during a slow period. This is kind of important, especially if you conduct business in a sector that is sort of prone to some cyclical changes. Okay, so for many LLC businesses, their financing needs are not properly met with a large lump sum. Let's say you are renovating your commercial space. You might need, let's say, for 50 grand or 75 grand now. You might need 7,000 or 9,000 in 6 months, and another 12,000 or 20 grand next year. So when you really think about it, a line of credit lets you get the cash you need when you need it, instead of paying interest on money you will not need for a while. Okay, so when we think about the benefits of a line of credit, your business will actually have the opportunity to have cash to cope with seasonal fluctuations. If your clients take longer to pay you for products or services you provide, you'll get the cash. If you land new clients and you need extra capital to cover the cost of labor and or supply, a line of credit can cover expenses during production. And if you have the opportunity to purchase equipment or inventory at a reduced cost, you can cover the bill with your line of credit while you wait for cash flow to catch up. Okay, so that's for the pros. What about the cons? Well, just like any financing that you have, you'll have to pay it back. If you don't budget in terms of your monthly payments, you may struggle to pay it, which puts you at risk of defaulting on the line of credit. And if you made a personal guarantee, you will also risk your personal assets being seized if you can't pay the line of credit. Okay, so defaulting on what type of financing you qualify for. So depending on the type of financing you qualify for, you may end up paying higher interest rate. So this is really important. So after analyzing, comparing, and contrasting those 4 players, SunWise, FundingPilot, Advancepoint, and Coast Funding, our winner is SunWise. Our score: SunWise 9.2 over 10, Advancepoint 9 over 10, Coast Funding 8.7 over 10, FundingPilot 8.2 over 10. We believe that SunWise has the better offer in this list to kind of help you out in terms of getting the no income verification loan that you so desire. I will see you next time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.